And then also we have the Dataverse. The Dataverse is a collection of Microsoft storage systems. So if you have a Microsoft developer account, you would have access to Dataverse, which you can use for your storage and stuff like that. And then we have recent sources. Recent sources shows all the data sources you've interacted with recently. And then we have transform data, where a lot of your data cleaning and transformation takes place. And then we have refresh. As the name implies, is for refreshing your data. Maybe you've made changes. Let's say you imported Excel, and then you made changes in the original Excel file. If you refresh, Power BI will update accordingly to reflect the change you made. Okay. And then these are the visuals you can use. And then we have a text box. A text box is for entering text on your reports. Then more visuals. Then we have measures. We'll look at all these. Then there is Copilot Publish. This one allows you to use AI to generate insights. So maybe you make a report, then you use AI to generate insights. So based on the chart you have, what is the data saying? But then it's exclusive for people with Microsoft developer accounts. Okay. And then there is Publish. Publish is for sharing your reports onto the Power BI service. All right. So today we are going to look at a data set most of us might be familiar with. Maybe you might not be familiar with the data set itself, but it's a service you might have used or you are aware of, which is Spotify. I'm sure many of us have Spotify or use Spotify, or we've heard of Spotify. Okay, so I got the Spotify data set from Kaggle. Kaggle is one website you can get all your data set, not all data sets, but most data sets. So you can create an account there, and then you search for the kind of data set you are looking for. There is a very high possibility that someone has already collected that data for you. Some have already been cleaned, some have not. So you can get data sets from Kaggle for practice. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to use an Excel workbook. Okay. So now I'm going to import the Spotify dataset, and then we take it on from there. All right. Okay. So over here, we see Spotify data, right? If, for example, you have an Excel sheet, an Excel workbook that has multiple sheets, you see all those sheets here. So you'd have the option to select which specific sheets you want to import. Okay. But then in our case, our data set contains only one sheet. So we'll select that. And it is always recommended that you transform your data before loading. Unless, of course, you've already cleaned it in Excel and you are sure you have clean data to work with. Otherwise, it's advisable to transform it before loading. Transform data allows you to correct any anomalies in your data. Okay. So we are going to transform our data. Okay. So this is what you call the Power Query Editor. The Power Query Editor allows you to make transformations to your data. So anything from data cleaning, changing cases, splitting columns, anything that has to do with altering the data you have, Power Query Editor is your guide. Okay. So over here, we see a whole lot of options and tabs and all this stuff. So you see these letters and symbols beside the column headers. They are indicators of the data type in that column. Okay. So when you see ABC, ABC indicates that the column contains strings or letters. I'm sure you might have learned of strings in the Excel Masterclass if you attended. But if you didn't, strings as a data type is anything that has to do with letters or letters and numbers, a combination of letters and numbers, okay, or letters mostly. So any letter, any sentence, words, all those are considered as strings. So if you see ABC beside the column header, it's an indication that that column contains strings, okay? So this is a string, the artist is a string, the top journal is a string, the journal simplified string. Then when you see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yeah, seed of.
Please, we can't see what you are demonstrating on. I think on my part, I see the Power BI application.
Oh. So you can't see the. Okay, sure. A minute. So you can see my Power Query Editor now.
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, sure. Thank you for the heads up. Yes, so this is what I was talking about, that these letters beside the column headers, they indicate what data type that column contains. So when you see ABC in Power BI, ABC like this, it indicates strings or text data, okay? When you see 1.2, that's decimal. When you see a $sign, it shows currency. Then 1, 2, 3 is an integer or a whole number. Then we have percentages, we have date and time, and we have dates. So there's this, working with these two are quite tricky. Date and time and dates. Okay, they are not the same. And then there is time. So there is date and time, there is dates only, then there is time only, depending on what is contained in the column. Okay. Then we have time zone, duration, texts, then true or false, booleans, or binary data. Okay. So this is our Spotify data set. The title tells us the title of the song, the artists who composed the song. Then we have the top genre, the genre the song belongs to. Okay. Then there is a simplified genre, which is a broader category of the genre. So maybe the top genre is peculiar to a particular country, but then the genre simplified is what we all know. Okay. So for example, you see here Canadian contemporary R&B, but it's simply R&B. Okay. So that's what the genre simplified does. It puts everything under one big umbrella that we are all familiar with. And then we have the year. We have the year column. So ideally, ideally, okay, let me undo this step and do it again so you see. Okay. So you see, we have a year column, but we all know years are not numbers, even though they are technically numbers, but they have a data type called dates. Okay. But then over here, it shows that it's an integer, 1, 2, 3. It's an integer. We can't work with a date like this. Okay, so we need to change it to dates, which the Power BI engine can recognize. That's why data transformation is very necessary. All right. So you click on, if you want to change the data type in a column, you click on the letters or the number beside your column header. You click on the number beside your column header, and then you select the appropriate data type. Okay. So I'll change this to dates. Then Power BI asks you to replace current or add a new step. Now, what this means is that you see on the right, there is this thing called, this box called applied steps. Okay. So Power BI has been made smart to know that any change you make, it should record it. Okay. So if I change a column header name, it will record it. If I delete something, it will record it. If I replace a certain number with another number, it will record it. Okay. So once all these things are recorded, the next time you open Power BI, you don't need to make those changes again. And anytime you make a change in the original file, maybe your Excel, you update something, then you refresh, you don't need to come and make all those changes again. Power BI already records them and then applies them automatically. Now, if you perform the same action twice, Power BI will ask you, is it the same thing you are doing, or we should add it as a new step? So anytime, if I change something once, and then I want to change another thing, this pop-up will show that, do you want to replace the step because it's the same action, or you want to add a new step? In this case, I'm doing a different thing. So I want to add a new step so that the next time I open it, I won't lose the changes I made. Okay. So I'll go to add new step. And you see that it is named as change type 1. If I make another change again and I add a new step, it will indicate as change type 2 in that order. If I replace or save it as the current step, then it won't add a new step. It will just assume it's the same change I'm making. Okay. So then we move to BPM. BPM is beats per minute. It's a musical term that counts the number of beats in a song per minute. Okay. And then energy. Energy is how people, what you call vibe. Okay, how people vibe with it. It's correctly labeled integer. Then danceability, how danceable the song is. It's also a rating. Okay. Then we have dB. dB is decibels, the loudness or softness of a song. That's also a number. Okay, so we see negatives, we see positive decibels are quite high. So that's why we have them in negatives. Okay. Then there's liveness, valence, duration. The duration is in seconds. Okay. So that's also one thing. For every data you work with, you need to understand what each column represents so that you don't unduly remove a column that you will need later. Okay. Every data set you work with, even if it's not your field, try and understand what each column means. You can go back to the person who gave you the work, or you can research online what each column means. so that you can make sound and informed judgments when it comes to your analysis. Okay. All right. So acousticness, pitchiness, all these have to do with music. Then popularity, which is also a rating. Now we are seeing this column 16 there, which is full of null values. So it's basically null values, which I don't think I'm going to need. So I can comfortably delete this. Okay. So if you want to remove a column, you right click on it, then go to remove. Okay. So now everything is set. We are good to go. This is based on the assumption that your data is clean already. For the purposes of this class, I chose a clean data, an already clean data. Okay. So we can go ahead and do our analysis. But then if you are doing an end-to-end project, you always have to make sure you have clean and accurate data before you proceed. So then I'll go to close and apply. Close and apply means all the changes I've made should be applied to the data set. And then now I can. Oops. Sorry. Okay. I'm hoping my screen is visible now. All right. I'm guessing it's visible. Okay. So this is the Power BI interface. This pane is called the report view. Okay. On the left side, you see the various views. So this is called the report view. This is where your dashboard building takes place. Then we have the table view. The table view shows you your data in a tabular form. So maybe you need a quick glance at something, what a column is about or something. Then you come to the table view. Now model view. This is a bit advanced, so we might get into it another time. But then model view allows you to create connections between, for example, if you are working with different data sets, it allows you to create connections between all those different data sets and link them based on certain keys or certain common columns. Okay. So there is a whole aspect of Power BI called data modeling. We might look into that later. It's quite advanced and complex, yeah. So then in the report view, we'll be doing our report and everything. Now, this is Spotify. For example, you are a data analyst and a Spotify programs manager or the marketing manager has come to you with their data set that, oh, you have Power BI skills. Kindly do some analysis on this data for us to see what's really happening with the streams and everything. Where should we put our revenue? Where should we invest more? Where should we cut funding? Where should we do this and that? So what are you going to do about it, having the data set? Because the whole point of Power BI is to generate business intelligence. Okay? Is to allow and enable stakeholders make informed decisions. So what can we do about this data set so that we know exactly what is going on, where we can put our money, where can we make more money and everything. So as a rule of thumb, there are certain visuals you use for certain data types or certain, how do I put this? Certain visuals used for certain data types. So for example, bar graphs or column graphs or charts, they are used for comparing categories. Okay. Then you have line charts. Line charts are for showing the change in a certain variable over time, always over time. So it's not ideal to use a line chart for comparing categories, ideally. And then we use pie charts to show the distribution of a whole or the composition of a whole. Okay, so you have 100% of something. We want to see how various categories contribute to make up that 100. Okay, then there is a scatter plot. A scatter plot is for showing the relationship between numerical variables. Then we have what we call a tree map. So over here, we call this the build pane. So on your right side, if your interface is like mine, you'll see this. We have the data pane, we have the build pane, we have the format pane, and then performance analyzer. Okay. Now the data pane is where your data set is housed. So if you have multiple data sets, you'll see all of them lined up here. Then we have the build pane where the actual chart creation takes place. Then we have the format pane, which allows you to make changes. It allows you to beautify your reports. It allows you to add and remove features. Okay. Yes, Theophilus.
Hello, sir. Please, about the data set, I
Uh-huh.
would be glad if you send a link to the texting where we send our text so that you can download it and create.
Oh,
Some of us don't have data set. Yes.
sure. Let me quickly share it in the chat.
Thank you very much.
All right, I've put it in the chat, so you can all download it and import it into your software and then. So should I give you guys a minute to download, or I can just continue and you will catch up?
Oh, continue. We'll catch up.
Okay, sure. Oh, I should have shared it at the beginning of the class. Sorry, my bad. I forgot. I assumed. Sorry about that. All right. So some are saying I should continue. Some are saying I should wait. Okay. So let me just wait for about 2 minutes. For those who want to download and send it to their PCs to do so, then we'll continue from there. So 141. I'll continue at 141. Okay. So I'm guessing we are all on the same page now. For those who are doing a follow along, those who have the apps already, have you been able to import it? Are you having any challenges?
Yeah, I'm done with me. I'm done with the importing.
Okay, sure. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right, sure. So let's continue. When it comes to Power BI reports building, usually all we see is the beautiful dashboards and reports and charts and all these nice colors and everything. But then the real work is behind the scenes. The real work is in the data modeling. The real work is in creating measures. The real work is in all the calculations and all the additional columns you have to create behind the scenes. Okay. So there's actually more to Power BI than just building the reports. And it takes time to master and with practice. So yeah, just giving you the heads up. So that you don't assume that the reports we build today is just all that there is to Power BI. Okay. So yeah, let's get on with the report. Now, what's one thing every report should have, or what's one thing every book has? When you pick a book, what's the first thing that catches your attention? Anyone?
Hello. The
The
title.
cover, the title, yes. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. So the cover and then the title. Those are the first things that catch your attention. They tell you exactly what the book is about. Okay. So we have a report. What's the first thing we have to do in our reports? What's the thing that will tell anyone who sees it what we are doing, what the entire chart is about? That's where we need a report title. So we'll use the text box. I mentioned that the text box is used for entering text into your charts. Okay. So I'll select the text box over here. So you go to home at the top here, beside your visuals, you see text box. Okay. So now I have my text box. What is this entire thing about? What's the data about? What will be an appropriate title to use? Anyone? What would be an appropriate title to use for this report? You can just type or mute and say it. What would be an appropriate title to use for this Spotify? Please come again. Spotify Insights, okay. Someone said something, I didn't quite catch that. Anyone else? I have Spotify Insights. Spotify Wrapped. I see. Spotify Highlights, okay. Okay. So Spotify key metrics, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Fine. All right.
please come again.
Spotify metrics.
Spotify metrics, okay. All right. But before I go on, what is a metric? Grace, you gave us Spotify metrics. What is a metric? Or anyone at all, what is a metric? Or you are now going to Google to come and tell me. Okay, measurable values. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Grace. Okay, so now I have my text box. Okay, but then you see it's very small and not visible. So I have to make it legible. So I'll increase the font size to say yes. Okay. So Spotify key metrics. All right. What are the colors of Spotify? Is it green and white or green and black?
Green and black.
Green and black. Okay. All right. So since we are doing the report for Spotify, you can, as a convention, create your report in their colors. Okay. Can create your report in their colors. So what I'm going to do is I have my title, but you see that when I click away from the text box, you can't really see the outlines of this. So it kind of makes it difficult when you have to arrange your other visuals on the report. So I'm going to create a visual border for this. So I'll click on the text box. I'll go to format, the format pin on the right. I'll go to format. Then under size and style. So there are two tabs under format. I'll go to visual. Then under size and style. Okay. Under size and style, you see visual border. This is visual border. So I'll toggle it on. Once I have my visual border on, you see now the outlines are visible. So I know where the text box starts and ends. Okay. All right. So I was saying that we are going to create the chart in Spotify colors. So let me make the background green. Okay. So under the same size and style, you see background. The background is already toggled on. But then by default, the color is to match the canvas, which is white. The canvas is the background we are doing the report on. Okay. So I'll change this to green. I'll click on the color, change it to green. All right, there we go. So yeah, even as data analysts, you still need a little bit of design. You still need to learn a bit about colors, color mixing. It's not every color you can put on. It's not every color combination you can put on your reports. Yeah, those are things you need to read on. So we have our Spotify key metrics. Now this is our title. Okay, so let's assume you work with Spotify. Say you are in the marketing department or you are in the product promotion or content creation or something. People that are interested in making money for the company. What and what do you think you'll be interested in seeing, given our data sets? What are the things do you think that you'll be interested in seeing? Okay, so considering the data sets we have now, just look it out. So I think all of you have it now, so you can just check it out. And then I'll take about 4 or 5 suggestions, then we dive right into creating the reports. So we have title, we have artist, we have genre, we have the year, we have BPM energy, danceability, liveness, duration, all these things. What and what would we like to find out? The most listened to artist, okay. Can someone note these things? Okay, you just type them in. All right, sure. So I'll just refer from the chat. Okay. So we have most listened to. Fred, the data setters. Okay, I think you joined late. Let me share it with you. Okay. All right. So most listen to artists. Oh, most listening to artists. Most popular genre, which is also the top genres. Then there is top performing artists. Then longest song duration, okay. Popularity rank, okay. Song danceability, all right. Okay. Most streamed, okay. Top 5 artists, okay. Is there a correlation? Cash. Michael Carey will go. Carey will go correlation. No, yeah. All right, so let me stick with these 6. Okay, thank you very much for your inputs. So now let's get on with it. The most listened to artists. All right. So the most listened to artists. Okay. So with the most listened to artists, we want to see which artist has the highest number of streams. Okay, so we are going to, let's say the top 5 or the top 10. The top 10 artists. Okay. So I'm going to use the bar chart for this. right? So when you come to the build, you see different types of charts. So there's the stack bar charts, start column chart, clustered bar chart, clustered column chart. So I'm going to use the clustered bar chart. So you click on it, it appears on your report pane. Then over here on your right side, you see all these fields pop up. Okay. So we have y-axis, x-axis, legend, small multiples, tooltips. All right. Now the y-axis in this case will be our labels because this is a bar chart. Bar charts are horizontal. So the y-axis, which is the vertical, is where our labels will be. Then on the x-axis is where the graphs, the categories will be, the length of the bars. Okay. So to create my bar charts, I'll drag you open your data sets on your right. So you open the data pane, you click on the drop down for your data sets. Then you drop the artists into the y-axis field. Okay. You drop the artist into the y-axis field. Then let me see what counts for. Popularity. Yes. So what I'm going to do is the number of times the artist appears will give me how often they are being listened to. Okay. Because over here, the data set doesn't include the stream numbers, the number of streams they have in those things. So we'll use the number of times they appear in our data sets as the number of times they are being listened to. So I'll drag again the artist into my x-axis. And then Power BI already assumes or it knows that this is text data and you can't perform calculation on text data. So what you can do is to count. Count, it shows the number of times every artist appears in the data set. Okay. But you see over here, and one plenty. You can't go and present this to someone. It wouldn't make any sense. So just narrow it down to the top 10. Okay. So how do we narrow it down to the top 10? We have this pane over here called filters. So you expand it. When you expand it, you see there are two options. There's filters on this visual and then filters on this page. If you create a filter on the page, any report you create on the page will be filtered. But then if you make the filter on only the visual, then it applies to only the visual. Okay. Okay. So I want to create a visual on this. I want to create a filter on this visual that selects only the top 10 artists. Okay. So I will expand. If you open it, your interface should be similar to mine. So you should have artists and count of artists because those are the two fields we are using. So you expand the artists. Then you see basic filtering. You click on it. Then you choose top N. We said we want how many? We want the top 10. So you choose your top number you want. Then top 10 what? By which value should we get the top 10? So you drag the artists. You want the top 10 most popular artists, the number of times they've been listened to. So a count of the artists. Then you apply your filter. Okay. So then now your report gets filtered. Your report gets filtered. So we now have the top 10 artists. Okay. So we have to edit this. Remember, we are doing it for Spotify. And we agree that we are creating the chart in green and black. Okay. So I'm going to change the, should I? Okay, let me change the background to, if I make the background black. Okay, let me make the background green and see. Okay. You remember how I changed the background for the text box? It's the same thing. You come to format, you come to visual, you click on the size and style drop down, and then you go to background. You click on the drop down on background, then you change the color. Okay. So if you scroll down on visual, you see bars, which are the bars which show the count of which artist is doing what. So we expand on bars. Then you also see color over there. So now I'll make this black. I mean, Spotify, green and black, we'll take it like that. All right. So now let's edit the title. What was the metric we were using? Most streamed artists, right? So most streamed artists. But then in this case, we filtered it down to the top 10. So it's just by convention, you should include a title that's top 10 most streamed artists. Okay. Okay. So now under visual, I want to edit my title. So under visual, you see under the format, under visual, you see title. So I want to make it bold so that people don't have a hard time reading it. Okay. Now we are done with this. Okay, let's remove the artists and then the count of artists. Or you can just choose to keep it and name it. So maybe artist name. Okay. All right. Now we are done with the chart, but if I present this to you and I ask you how many streams does Rihanna have, you won't be able to tell me. You might say 30, but are we really sure it's 30? Okay, there is nothing with, and we don't want to guess. Okay, so we include what we call data labels. Data labels show you the exact figure, the exact value, so that you don't have to guess which number is what and all that. Yes. So when you scroll down on the visual, you see data labels down here. So you toggle it on. Okay. And then you make a few changes to it. You set the position to outside end so that it's visible for everybody. And you see that this is a lighter shade of black. So maybe you can, I think it's more like gray. So you can make it black. Yes, so that is visible. Now, if I ask you how many streams does Rihanna have, you can confidently tell me it's 30. If I ask you how many streams or how many times that Taylor Swift appear in the data sets, you can confidently tell me it's 23. Okay, so data labels aid in communicating insights from your visual. Okay, it eliminates guesswork. It gives you the exact numbers. All right. So, oh, you want to see how I filtered the count of the artists? Okay. So I open the filters, and then on the artist, you click the drop down on the right. The drop down here. Then filter type. The filter type is on, by default, it's on basic filtering. It's on basic filtering. So you change it to top N. Then you enter the number you want. Then you drag by value. In the by value field, you drag the artist or the value you want to filter by. And then the aggregation you want to perform on that column. So over here, we want to filter by the top 10 most appearing artists. Then that's the count. So you select the count and then you apply the filter. That's how you get the top 10. I guess you are good now. All right. So the next thing was most popular genres. Okay, so just like I did for the title, I will also include a visual border for this. Okay. Most popular genres. Okay. Most popular genres. So just like we did for the artists, we'll do for the genres. So where is it? Genre simplified. Okay. I hope we all get it up to this point. If you have any questions, you can ask as we go on. All right. So now, instead of going to redo everything I've done here, over here, Power BI has simplified everything using this tool called Format Painter. So I'll just click on this, which I've already edited. I'll select my Format Painter, and then I'll come and paint this. You see, quick and easy. So every editing I've done over here will be transferred here. Okay. So since I have the journal name, I'll just remove this. Then I'll put in an appropriate title. So most popular genres. Okay. What was the next thing? top performing artists. Top performing artists. Well, it might tie into this. It might tie into this. So, because the most listened to relatively translates to the top performing artist. So let me go to the song durations. Okay. The song duration. All right. Mm, okay. All right. But then remember I said the duration was in seconds. Okay. So we need to change it to minutes. We need to change it to minutes. So we can create a new column. We can create a new column, and then we will convert the song duration into minutes. So duration in minutes. All right, guys, sorry about that. It seems ECG had other plans, so apparently I was running on battery power the whole time. So the idea, I think we might have to discuss what we've done so far, then I'll take any questions you might have up to this point. So with what I've shown you, I'm sure you can go and complete the, okay. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask them. Okay, Grace is asking how I put the count of the artist. Yeah, Grace, that was automatically done by Power BI. anytime you drag text data into a numerical field, it will assume that you want to count it because text data, you can't perform calculations on text data. So it will automatically count. But then if it does not, you can click on the drop down beside the column name. Then you see the summarization to use. So you see count distinct. If it's text data, that's all you see. But then if it's numerical data, you see average, you see min, max, all those things. Then you select it from there, what you want to do. Okay. Yeah, so that's how you do the count of the artist. Are there any other questions? Oh, okay. Artist against artist count. Yes. I was saying that the question we wanted to answer was who are the top performing artists, right? And then I was saying we didn't have the streams they have. We could have used the ratings. I would have done the ratings also. Yes. But then I use the artist because I use the artist name and the count. So the count, as it implies, it counts the number of times the artist appears in the data set. So I plotted it based on the assumption that the number of times the artist appears is the number of times their songs are in there. So we take that as they being the top performing artist. Okay. So I selected artist into the category, the y-axis, then I selected the count of the artist, meaning the number of times each artist appears in the data set. So that's how I plotted both. So basically it's the artist and the number of times they appear in the data set. So the artist and the bar represents the number of times their name appears in the data set. I hope you are clear now, Grace. Nana Bonso, I'm not sharing my screen currently. Yes, Theophilus, please come in.
Yeah, hello. So because of the impromptu cut short of the class, is
Yeah.
it going to be risky to benefit from it? And how are we going to hear from it? Are you going to send us email for the rescheduling or how? Can you please know?
Yeah, my boss will come and speak on that shortly. He will be in shortly, so let's wait and hear from him.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, hello. So please, you see, your boss when he started, he said there's this site where you can get data from either already transformed or untransformed, like where you went to pick the Spotify data from. Can you please get a link?
Yeah, I mentioned Kaggle, KAGGLE.com. So you can get Kaggle, KAGGLE.com.
Okay.
KAGGLE, then .com.
Thank you.
Please, how many of us were doing a follow along? Kindly indicate by raising your hand. Maybe we can continue with your machine. How many of us were following along on the app? Joshua, okay. Do you mind sharing your screen with us so that we can conclude, then we see the way forward?
Oh, if someone else can do that, I just left my PC.
Okay, sure.
I'm just using my phone now.
Grace. Grace, can you share your screen?
I'm listening to the call on my MacBook, but I was doing it on my Windows. So I don't know how I'll be able to do that.
Oh, I see. Anyone else? But Grace, do you have Zoom on your other laptop?
I don't have, but I can download it now.
Yeah. No, you can, you don't need to download. You can just, so copy the link to your other laptop, then you just join online. You join on the web. You don't need to download it. Do you get
Okay,
it?
okay.
Yeah, you
All right, let
send
me.
the meeting link over there. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Lucy. Okay, Grace, kindly share your screen with us. The screen of the Power BI desktop.
Okay. Please, how do I share my screen?
You see the share screen button down there. There are some icons and tabs down there. When you maximize the Zoom interface, you see share. I think you see mute start video participant. Then you see share.
Hello, Joel.
Yes.
Please, in your illustration, you made mention of format painter. Can you please help me once again with the use of it?
The use of format painter. Yeah,
Yes,
I
please.
mentioned that. Hey, was that my screen? That wasn't my screen. Yeah, I mentioned that with the format painter, it allows you to transfer all the edits you made on one chart to another. So instead of changing the bar colors, the title, font, the data labels, and everything, you need to do it on one chart. You select the chart, you go and select the format painter, then you go and click on the chart you want to apply the settings to. Then it will be automatically applied.
So it saves you time in redoing all the edits you've done.
Okay. Okay. Well understood. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So I think we might have to end the class here. Okay. Then, yeah, I had a bit of a challenge at my end, so I'm
Sir,
unable to
please,
continue.
we need a recording.
Let me see. So, Frank, please, if you're on the call, kindly take over.
Are we ending the call now?
Yes, I was about to, but then since you shared your screen, let me just give you a few pointers, then we'll go on. Okay, so Grace,
Yes, please.
so okay, you might need to edit your title. I think we made it the top 10 most streamed. You've been able to do the filter, right?
The counts of artists by
The
artists. Yes.
top 10, yes, the top 10. Okay, sure. All right. So, and then also, if you check, you see that your bar chart is bigger than the chart below it. Okay. So, in as much as we are presenting insight, we also need to be mindful of design and proportionality. Okay. So you can just drag everything to size. You see, when you are dragging it, there are these red lines that appear. They are called the guidelines. So they allow you to make sure that all your charts are proportionate and everything. Okay. All right. So I think with this insight and where we ended, you guys can go ahead and complete the remaining charts on your own. So I'm sharing the flyer in the chat. Kindly take a look at it for me. Okay, I've shared a flyer in the chat. Okay, that's the registration information to our paid program. Okay, it runs for 12 weeks. It's tailored to meet your needs as a worker, as a student. So the classes are in the evening, 7 to 9 p.m. Okay, so then there is the the registration link, there's the WhatsApp number there that you can reach out to. So I'm sure you all know that analytics is needed by almost every company these days. And regardless of your field of work, you need to have these skills because you work with data some way, somehow. Okay. Then having these skills puts you on top. It gives you the ability to generate insights from raw data. So I mean, this consider it as an investment in your personal development. Okay. So you can take a look at the flyer I've put in the chat, and then feel free to reach out to the number on there, and then ask every question you need to ask. So the training covers 3 tools, which are mostly used in analytics: Excel, Power BI, which we had an introductory class for today, and then there is SQL. For Excel, you cannot run away from Excel. Almost every company that works with data uses Excel. And then there are certain advanced tools that Excel teaches you. This program will teach you. That will put you way up ahead. Okay. So Excel is a very powerful counting and adding stuff. But then Excel is a very powerful analytics tool. And then, like I mentioned, there's Power BI. So what we did today is just the introductory class, but then there's more to Power BI. So there's the end-to-end aspect of things, which allows you to build data pipelines, do data modeling. There are slices, there's the question and answer visuals, using AI to generate insights, a whole lot of things. We might not be able to exhaust everything in an hour or two, but then in the program, we will get time to break all these things one after the other. The program runs for 12 weeks, so I mean, we'll dedicate time for almost every feature. Then there is also SQL. SQL is structured query language. It's the programming language for interacting with databases. Okay, so if a company doesn't use Excel as their database, then they use a structured database. So SQL is the language used to query data or used to extract data from the database. So for example, you work in a hospital. Hospitals have very large volumes of data, and mostly they use these databases. So they have patient data, they have drugs, data of the various departments. And if you work as an analyst in some of these institutions, SQL is a must-have. SQL is a must-have. You need it to query the data before you do your data cleaning, before you do your analytics and everything. Okay. Persis, I think all the information you need is on the flyer. Oh, okay, there's a WhatsApp platform, yeah. So yes. So then there is SQL, yeah, as I'm saying. SQL is, so I think you can do this basic check and see what SQL is used for. These databases and sorry, a minute. Yes. So as I was saying, SQL is used for querying databases, okay? So for interacting with large databases. So these 3 tools give you the edge you need in analytics, okay? So Excel, trust me, Excel is a really powerful tool. Many people don't know this, but Excel is really powerful. So there are features a lot of people don't know of. There is the stock feature, there is what if analytics, there is some products. I'm sure you've heard of VLOOKUP, but then there is the senior brother of VLOOKUP called XLOOKUP. Then a whole lot of other features that make your work in Excel seamless, makes your analytics very much on point. Okay. So guys, I recommend the program for you, especially if you are a worker and then you want to upskill, you want to be able to handle projects. You can take paid projects, you can do part-time remote work. So, and I mean 12 weeks, 7 to 9 in the evening. If you are working, chances are that by 7 you are at home already. So then the class is very well suited to fit into your schedule. And then it's on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So you can have Mondays, you can have Fridays for your rest. I mean, nobody likes their Fridays being touched. Okay. So yeah. Kindly go through the flyer. Yeah, my boss has put the links in the chat so you can check them out. We have our YouTube channel, we have our Instagram page, we have our LinkedIn. Kindly do well to follow and subscribe. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We are ever willing to respond to your queries and everything you have. So yeah, I think that will be all. Yes. So kindly connect with us on LinkedIn, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, interact with our posts and everything. If you have any questions, I think you can ask in the WhatsApp page. Okay. Will there be a masterclass for SQL? Well, I think my boss will answer that. Or maybe you can ask on the WhatsApp page. Yes, so YouTube IG. Right. Okay, so guys, if there are no further questions, we will end today's class here. You can ask any questions you have. You can have any questions you have on the WhatsApp page. Thank you very much for joining today. And oh, okay. So there's no masterclass for SQL. Okay. So Persis, to your question, there's no masterclass for SQL. So the 2 masterclasses we have are the ones we've done. So from here, yeah. So from here, we are taking off with the paid class where we'll go into detail with all of these tools and yeah. All right, guys. So thank you very much for joining today's class. See you all in a bit. Thanks for joining.